Hello, this is Julia of Finchley Yoga, and I'm here with Georgie Catling to talk about Valentine's Day and self-love, and a little bit about the workshop that she's going to be running with us on Valentine's Day. So hi, Georgie.
Hello, nice to be here. Thank you for having me, Julia. I'm rather nervous, so please forgive me if I garble out a few things.
I'm sure that you will be lovely. I just want to start to find out a little bit more about you and how your journey towards working with Rites of Womb began.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's quite a long story to really talk about. But if I take you back to when I was 29, which was in 2003, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. And obviously a shock at 29 or any age, and it really started me on looking at the physical, obviously, of what had happened to my body, but also the energetic, spiritual and emotional path. I really wanted to find out what my body was telling me. I did have a hysterectomy, so I did go down traditional medicine route, but I also went down complementary areas as well, and went to somewhere in Bristol Cancer Centre. I think it's called something else now, Penny Brown Centre, but they looked at diet and meditation, really the whole holistic package. So that's where it really started, where I really started to explore my womb, what she was telling me, my cervix, my feminine energy. And I realised that I'd been suppressing that part of myself, and also suppressing a lot of anger, because they weren't emotions that traditionally associated with women, and the shame as well about my sexual energy. So that started me really working, initially shamanically, and then over the years it led me into many other complementary therapies, but always specifically looking at the womb. So even when I was a reflexologist, I used to work with menstrual health and focus on the ovaries and the womb area on the feet. And so, yeah, that path alongside many other things is what happens. We all weave our journeys together. And then took me on to womb awakening. I trained with Fountain of Life in 2017, which was a real deep journey with the womb, a 9-month journey, and then culminating in teacher training. But alongside that, it was also focusing on how to support women as well into really embracing who we are, every part of us, the wild nature, the gentle nature, the inward crone-like nature, that wise woman, but also the maiden, the dynamic energy, where we feel that we want to really go and get things, and really bringing those four into balance. So I trained with Miranda Gray, author of Red Moon, so many different paths really that have just led down to this focus on womb, but not just from the physical part, but from the emotional, energetic and spiritual part. Sorry, did I answer your question?
You did. I'm just piecing those pieces together because we've got very much the beginning of your journey, yeah, and the recent times in your journey. I just wonder whether you could talk a little bit more about sitting in circle with women, maybe where you first experienced that and where you began to look at holding space for other women yourself.
Yeah, sure. Well, it started as my journey as a psychiatric nurse, as a crisis nurse, and working in people's homes, but also in an acute day hospital, where I would run meditation circles, but also we used to have specific women-centered groups. So that was where it started, and then from that, running groups there, I used to run coping with depression, anxiety management groups. It transgressed into, when I left nursing, I really saw that there was a need for that support to continue, and a friend and I, who we both trained together in reflexology, were talking, and I was saying that I really missed running groups when I'd left nursing, and she said, "Oh, I want to run a women's group, but I'm too nervous," because she hadn't had the experience of running groups. I was like, well, you know, that's what I do. Should we do something together? And it just took off from there. So from that moment, you know, when the universe supports you, from that moment, and then I think 3 hours later we were fully booked. So we were like, okay, this is what we're meant to be doing. And so we ran circles together for a couple of years, and then I moved to Glastonbury in Somerset, which was 4 hours away from, so we couldn't carry on doing it. We tried, but yeah, it didn't work. So yeah, so really initially holding space, running circles was from nursing, and then it progressed into running it with a friend, and then being in Glastonbury. And I suppose it's something that I love doing. I love holding space, I love holding circles. It's just progressed on from there.
Lovely. I'd love to hear a little bit more about the session that you're going to run on the 14th of February for us, and also maybe going into that, talking about the oracle cards that you're going to be using in the session, because they're so beautiful, and I know there's a lovely story around the kind of birth of the oracle cards. I don't know if you've got any with you, but it would be lovely to
I have got some with me. So on the day, on 14th of February, Julia and I thought it'd be really nice to pick that day, because there's a lot about being in love with somebody else, but actually it's really important to actually cherish and nourish ourselves on well, every day, but particularly on Valentine's Day, because sometimes it can feel a bit, especially if you're single, that you're feeling a bit left out or what to do, because there's that beautiful energy that's around. So it's about celebrating it and bringing it in within ourselves. So that's why we chose the day. And the focus of the workshop is, again, about your womb. And you don't have to have a physical womb. As I mentioned, I had a hysterectomy, but you have a very powerful energetic womb. And our wombs aren't just about childbirth. They're also about our creativity, our life force, our purpose, our passion. And they're our guides, our compasses of where we need to be in the world, what resonates with us. And sometimes it's hard to connect with that, because we've perhaps been conditioned not to, or perhaps it's a place that you associate with pain through periods or loss or trauma. So the day is really about reconnecting with that gentleness of your womb. So there's a really special rite. It's called the womb rite, which the origins are from a lady, pronounce her name right, it's Marcella, and she is a lady from the Amazon jungle. I think she had a dream and a vision about coming forward to women to reinforce that the womb isn't a place to store fear and pain, but actually it's the place to give birth to life and ideas. And that's the very simple premise of it. And it's an energetic transmission that I will pass on during the workshop. But then once a woman's received it, she's able to then go on and transmit that rite as well. So there'll be a group afterwards that you can all log into, and you can register as a sacred womb keeper. So it's a beautiful practice, so simple, so empowering, but you can incorporate it in your one-to-one work with women, or if you wanted to run a workshop such as I'm going to do as well, or just for yourself every day, just to nurture yourself and remind yourself of that power that you have. So that's part of the workshop. The other part focusing on is just the Yoni oracle cards. So this deck took 4 years to make. Yes, quite a journey. There's been nine artists involved in the project, 4 main artists. But the idea came through when I was living in Glastonbury, in a house at the bottom of the Tor. And it was such a powerful energy that came through. I thought, oh, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. So then I'd convinced myself that maybe they're saying I need to buy some Yoni oracle cards. So I was searching everywhere, trying to find them. They didn't exist. So I tried to ignore it, but when there's an idea or inspiration is so strong, I couldn't sleep, basically. So I started the journey, and that was 2015. And 2019, they were launched at Glastonbury Goddess conference, which was amazing because they're all around the world now, and I'm getting some wonderful feedback. So what we're going to do on the day is I'm going to get everyone that's there to pick a card from the deck, and I'm going to specifically tune into that into relation to you, and you're going to be journeying with that throughout the workshop. And with that, we're going to look at an intention that will help you manifest or take forward going through the year, something that really resonates with you, something that's really sings your soul song. So it might be something that's not logical. So that's why it's good to have the card. And because I created the cards as well, obviously I've got an in-depth knowledge of what their energy is, because it's not always just what the words are saying. So so the day will be gentle, nourishing, supportive, specifically with a card, and then a gift that you can carry through with the Rite of the Womb in your own work. So I'm really looking forward to it. And if you're nervous about coming, please still do. If your womb's calling you, just you can email me beforehand any questions. Very friendly.
Can I ask you a little bit more about the Yoni oracle cards? So I know all about Yonis, and you know all about Yonis.
Yeah.
Some people who are watching right now might not even know what the word Yoni means.
Yes, of
course. Might not even know what an oracle.
Yes, very
so
true.
Maybe a little bit more detail about the meaning behind it, and maybe show us a couple of examples of what you might mean.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, great question. So the Yoni is a Sanskrit word, and it encompasses your womb, your vagina, your vulva. It's more of a all-encompassing cosmic word. So it's about the feminine life force, or the female reproductive system, but not just in terms of, as we've said before, giving birth, but actually the infinite, cosmic, wonderful nature that she is. So that's the Yoni. So it's your knowledge, your inner knowledge, the outer knowledge, everything that has been is in the Yoni. So very powerful. And the oracle is a way of seeing or connecting, being in between the worlds. So it's like the liminal space. So combining the oracle with the Yoni, you could say the Yoni is an oracle, it's just really powerful. And so the deck's aim is really about focusing on the energies that we hold, the feminine energies. So it works with 4 tribes. So maiden energy, the mother energy, the enchantress, and the crone energy. And each 4 of those archetypes are actually present within all of us, even when you're, say like 20, you've still got crone energy, maybe not as strongly as someone that's in their 70s, but it's an energy that we can tap into within our cycle. So if you bleed, for example, during that quiet, still time, that could be the crone time, because you're tapping into that collective, old, ancestral wisdom. And then maiden energy, again, you could be in your 70s, but you could still, it's healthy to still have that maiden, light, innocent, playful energy within. So the oracle deck is really about getting us to explore all 4 of those energies, so that we're not just dominant in one. So for example, for me, I'm a crone. I love being on my own. I get nervous about doing things like this. I want to hide away in my cave. That's my natural energy. But by doing that, you can be very lonely, very isolated, don't get to share your gifts. So I have to work on my enchantress, for example, who's very seductive, good at boundaries. So I I consciously pull on her energies. So I'm just going to show you one of the original paintings. This lady's, she's on the front of the cards, and she's the Yoni of Avalon. So she is, yeah, powerful. She's about knowing what your truth is and not keeping up an illusion. She will bring down the illusion, basically. So, and lovely one here that's actually the picture from the group.
Oh yeah,
I love her. She is the Yoni of abundance. So again, she's about vitality, giving birth to wonderful projects, but she does also get you to think about where you're putting your energy. Because if you want to create this joyful abundance, you need to make sure that you're not being drained in areas that don't serve you, or that you know aren't really true to your being. So yeah, so there's 45, sorry, I'm trying to balance. There's 45 images in total that we can work with and explore. So who knows what card you'll pull on the day.
How exciting. I just love the ideas, because Valentine's Day can be such a cliche of going out for dinner and chocolates and flowers, or loneliness, or feeling like you're not special, or worry. You know, there can be lots of things associated with Valentine's Day that aren't joyous and lovely. And if you do have a special person in your life, then this kind of thing will be a beautiful gift that isn't commercial, that isn't like having to buy something. And I've always been quite an expert as a yoga practitioner. It's all about experience for me. So I've never, everyone thinks, oh, what shall I buy as a present? I'm not a thing person. I don't like to buy things. I like to enjoy experiences and put things in my kind of memory box. And the idea of coming to a workshop and having an experience that is all about kindness to self and love, and a little bit of opening your eyes up to where you might go, and obviously that beautiful connection to the womb, that massively appeals to me. So that's why I asked you to come. So have you got any kind of final little tidbits or notes or anything that you'd like to say to people about the workshop on the 14th of Feb?
Yeah, well, I mean, what I'd like to say, if you're listening to this now, maybe take a few moments and just place your hands over your womb, which is just below, the place just below your belly button, or one hand on your womb and one hand on your heart, and then just close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths. And then just let her know that you're listening to her. And that you're ready to hear what she has to say. And know that messages may come in dream time, through people that you meet, or through sparks of inspiration. Doesn't have to be logical. And that's a beautiful practice that you can do last thing at night or first thing in the morning.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the 14th. Georgie, in the meantime, is there anywhere that people can find you? You've got a website or
I've got a website and Instagram and all sorts of things.
You can post it in the link below.
Yeah, I put it. If I put it on the workshop details. But yeah, please do, if there's any questions, because I know sometimes, especially if you're new to womb work, even the word womb can evoke quite strong emotions. So yeah, please do contact me and reach out. I just saw your cat jump up there.
So there's a bit of a cat and dog fest going on behind
yeah, please do reach out, because it's going to be a really gentle, supportive workshop, and it will really, it's still the early springtime, February. We're not quite, we've had Imbolc, but we're still still cold, isn't it? And it will just bring some nourishment and warmth. So yeah, and do ask any questions. Very happy to answer.
We'll put all the details below. The workshop will take place from 11 o'clock to 2:30 on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it's a Friday.
Actually, I think it's till 1:30, isn't it?
2:30.
Is it 2:30? Right.
Yeah.
I will make sure.
Oh, is it 1:30? No, 1:30.
Yeah, 11 till 1:30.
We're in womb consciousness.
11 till 1:30 on Valentine's Day. It'll take place at Finchley Yoga. All the details are on the website, which is finchleyyoga.com, and we'll make sure that at the bottom of these details there'll be contact details for Georgie, so that you can ask any questions before the workshop takes place. Thank you so much for your time today, Georgie.
Brilliant. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.